Hello, creators. Jonathan here. This is kind of, I'm using this YouTube channel of mine, Jonathan at 3400. I don't know what the 3400 means. It's something YouTube said. But anyways, I am using this to sort of, I look at it myself, so I kind of have it as a video log, and I'm going back and I'm going, oh wow, you actually finished those tweeters. You know, and when you finish something, it's always, you know, it's my habit to just keep going. But I'm now seeing that there are things that I complete, and then I see that I've released it and told everyone, oh yeah, I finished this. And then, like, if I don't put a video up, then you guys don't know if I finished it. And it's sort of like a story that unfolds. And as I reach these little goals and I complete little things, and then I go, oh, okay, yeah, I started that and I finished that. And then, oh, I should probably put a video up of that. And then just now, as I was like going, okay, let's get ready for that video, I was thinking, oh yeah, where are those chokes? And then I went and dug out the chokes, and then I went, oh yeah, I should probably, if I'm gonna like tell them what I'm doing, I should probably pull that phono preamp thing that I'm doing, and sort of show that as well, because it's sort of like challenges. So like I set a situation, I go, look, here's the situation, I'm doing this, and then I post it, and then I go, oh yeah, I see one of my videos just got 34 people looked at it. I went, wow, there are 34 other people seeing this. That's pretty freaking cool. So I thought, if you're gonna say something to these people and you're gonna like do some work, you should probably show them what you're doing. So I'm gonna just use the camera tripod here and just point at some of the things. So these are my, I'm gonna put that stable, and then I'm gonna hold it up in front of the camera. That'll be a little easier. So I got a pair of these. They were consecutive serial number, 075 JBLs. They were a little scratchy on the aluminum bits, and then I polished them. And I have a YouTube, or no, I have an Instagram where I show that I made a little board, and I took a drill and polished them. So anyways, that's them finished. They're, you know, there's a polishing shop next door, and they make things really pretty. But I was looking at what I started with, and then like where I took this to, and yeah, if I was trying to sell these to somebody, I'd probably want them that, you know, that extra 20%, like, wow. But since they're gonna just be hearing my own thing, playing music for me, I was happy with this. So, and I'm just listening to them, the JBL. I have some D130s and a D140. So I'm planning on having a pair of these, the 075s, and then I also rebuilt an LE 175, and that's also on my Instagram. And I don't know. I'll put them in the description, all the links. But this, I also, inside of it, I put a new wire, silver and Teflon wire, and rebuilt all of it, cleaned it all up, made it pretty. Because you know, you buy things on eBay and they're just old, and if you try and like throw them right into the system and like, oh, audition them and go, oh, those sound like crap. Well, if you see the pictures, you know, they're dirty and dusty, and it's really not fair on the actual component. So anyways, so for the high frequencies and the low frequencies, I have some Triad transformers. I'm basically going to be making a single-ended amplifier with a Triad output driving one tweeter, and I have 4 of these outputs. I have 4 outputs, all Triad, and then I have 2 power transformers. So I'm basically making 2 stereo amps, and my idea is to make the for those ones over there, the D130s. I have a pair of D130s, and rather than picking them all up, I have some cool caps, 2 different versions, 2 different, I have basically a 10 and a 6.5, another 10 and another 6.5, and then I have a couple of foil coils. Basically they're first order crossovers, so each driver, tweeter, woofer will have its own output transformer going to either a choke or a coil, or a choke or a cap. So not a circuit, just anyone who's playing in this game, you already know what I'm talking about, so I don't have to explain it. But yeah, I wanted to simplify things, so it's basically, you know, just there's 4 amplifiers for 4 drivers, and then I have a center section, and I have a whole nother, sorry for stepping off camera, I have a whole nother another pair of outputs, and another power transformer. I don't know why I had to show you, but I did. So with that, I'm going to be powering the D140. So I have the center section is a D140, and then this 175, it's going to be driving the center section. So it's really going to be if you can imagine, left and right will be the 2 ways. So that's 4 amplifiers driving 4 speakers, and then the center will have a D140 in its own cabinet, and then a mid-range driver. And I wanted, so here's my thinking. We have theater gear here. A lot of this stuff is out of theaters. Now this stuff, the 075s, those are home, but variants of these woofers, they were used in movie theaters. And I personally like movie theater horns. They're big, and if you've ever had the pleasure of standing in front of a horn, a big horn, you go, whoa, that like really jumps out at you as believable. So my problem with that is that horns are large, and the larger the better, but I also have experience with mono systems, so I know that I can get the flavor of a horn, a large wooden horn. That's what I'm going for. And I know that I don't need the power of a full-size driver. Like, this is a 175. They make a 375, and then they make a 555 from Western Electric. That's like a really big one. It's like the size of an 8-inch speaker. This one is, you know, like, it's not that big. So anyways, I want to go to a large-ish horn. So that means there's going to be from a 1-inch, this is only a 1-inch driver. I don't know if you see that dot there. Yeah, there we go. So this is a 1-inch driver. And then the mouth that goes from circle to flare for driving the room. This is probably can't see that, but basically it's a 1-inch to a 2-inch. So that's not going to be the best energy transference. So they do make couplers. JBL does make couplers going from 1-inch to 2-inch. So it's not like I'm inventing this. This is something that's already been done by the big boys. And my problem with that is that I also played with Altec horns, the 811 namely. So an Altec 811 is an aluminum horn. A lot of you have heard them. They have a ringing. They're not like whoa. They're like ee, like so fucking. So when you listen, and you already have bullet tweeters, the last thing I want from the center section, the big mouth, is going to be, the last thing I personally want is going to be more shrill top end. I want the middle big horn to be more milky or woody, like instrument timbre-ish, rather than metallic shrill. I already am going to be battling the 075 tweeters for high-end shrillness. So one of the things I've got going on is basically this is the 175 at the bottom, and then I've made this coupler that goes from 1-inch to 2-inch, and then I taped around it, and I made little markers so that I could, because it's handmade, so it's not perfect. I didn't turn it on a lathe. I did use a router, and I did route the holes, so the holes are cool. But as far as the steps, I did that with a round file and like a half moon file and sandpaper, and I lined it all up so that when I bolt it, when I go to screw it together, you know, it's going to be more like handmade. And I would prefer that it was better, more perfect, and maybe I'll buy a lathe and do that out of a bigger chunk. But for now, I'm running with this idea. So basically, that'll be like that. Hopefully we can see that. I can see it. Yeah, so yeah, like the drawing. And then I had an idea to, see there's the face of it. And I basically have two pieces. Sorry for going sideways on you here in this video, but I have 2 pieces thick so that it'll basically be able to, and I wanted to hear the room, to hear basically what's going to be better, this way or this way. And I guess it'll depend on the room shape that I'm playing into. But this is only going to be a mouth, only that thick. And I actually think that I'm going to do a, this will just be a bolt pattern thing. And then I'm going to put this is the horn shape. So it'll be shooting, I think like that, or maybe like that. Like I said, I don't know yet. I'll have to just listen into the room. So I'm gonna look sort of like that. Yeah. So I watch these Japanese guys. They make horns, and that's where I got a lot of these ideas. So it's not like I'm just coming up with this stuff on my own. I mean, there are some innovations and some little things that I'm doing that I'm kind of proud of. But for the most part, I am taking guidance from other cooler people than me doing stuff. Anyways, that's that stuff. And then, so that's the 4 amps. And then I have the other 2 over there. So I have 6 amps totally. So this is a 6-way, 6 power amplifier system. And I have a bunch of, so like I mentioned, this doesn't actually need to power a lot. It's gonna power like a Southern California living room and not that big. So it's really gonna be overkill. And I have a bunch of tubes already. Although, you know, grass is always greener type thing. These are EL84 variants. They are 7189s, and I have a whole collection of EL84s, but these are like military ones. So I thought I would maybe use these in certain, I'm going to be building them 1 amp at a time, and sort of voicing as I go. So the stereo amplifier for the tweeters, I'll get to listen to EL84s, and I'll build 1 channel, so I just get to listen to 1 tweeter, and then I'll build the push-pull. I'm going to do a single-ended amp. So single-ended is just 1 tube, and then 2 tubes is push-pull. Push-pull has a better bass response. It's tighter, so I'm going to use that on the woofers. And then when you want a more delicate, more pure, more always on, ready to say whatever with no phase coherence issues, with the bass frequencies, you can't really hear the phase inverter drama much at all. It's low in the frequency band, the woofer is, so we don't hear that. It's more of a boom boom, and you're not hearing the vocal articulations of, say, a singer, which would be higher frequency. So when you're hearing congas or something, or a bass drum kicking, that's the woofer. And then phase inverter that will go to a push-pull amp, so it's making more current flow for 2 tubes to put through a sound. You don't hear it as a blur. It is a blur, but with these small tubes, I'm not going to hear it. Nobody's going to hear it. It's more analytical, I think. Analytical drama aside, single-ended on the tweeters, push-pull on the woofers. Yeah, and to drive these things, right now, I have a record player and a CD player. So I also have tape machines, but I think I'm gonna sell the tape machines. Tape is really cool, and I have like some of the best tape machines ever made. I have 1954 Ampex tape recorders. Now that's an argument I just started, but there are Swiss tape recorders that are cooler, but I don't own those. I own earlier ones that are like a 50s Cadillac type thing, like heavy duty, deep, thick sound. I have like 3 of them. And I have 2 400s and a 300. And the 300's a stereo. Both of the 400s are mono. So I may keep one of the mono 400s just for gee whiz. The 300 stereo is worth money, and I can apply that into other circuits and other things. And I don't know that I would be missing much in life, not having, you know, like, it's like, do you want to have a small house and a budget sports car, or do you want to have a Lamborghini and sleep on your friend's couch? It's kind of like that. So I would rather have an older sports car and a little house versus a Lamborghini. So that's the 300 tape machine. Anyways, that's a little sidebar there. So inputs going in. The reason I'm talking about tape recorders, CD players, and record players. Since I like a challenge, I've decided to go with a moving coil, and that needs input transformers. So I have, for this circuit, or this speaker system that I'm building, I have decided, out of my collection so far, I had a couple different transformers. So like I have this old one, which I don't really know what these are. Maybe somebody can tell me in comments. But they're sealed, they're old. Somebody built them into this little thing, this little box. And then I have some Altec Lansing, or I should say Peerless for Altec input transformers. So my first preamp, I decided, rather than, I do have schematics for a bunch of all the greats, but one of the things I'm trying to do with all of this learning is I'm trying to figure out, so what's good and what's not. Like sometimes you'll see somebody will say, oh, Mercedes-Benz or Rolls-Royce, or they say, oh no, I like Cadillacs. There's various brands, and they mean a different commitment in financial input to get into the game. So a Cadillac, an American-made classic, gasoline era, say 1950 to 2000, that is a cost. Let's call it $50,000 to $100,000 for that kind of a car. So then I'm liking this to preamplifiers. So there's different levels of preamplifiers as well, and they get more complex, and they use higher quality, rarer tubes, and different transformers. And when marketing them, if you advertise a Cadillac, you're probably going to advertise it into a place where Cadillac buyers are going to get it. So I don't know that I want to continue on this chat about the cars and whatnot, but basically there's three different preamps that I'm going to be trying. And not to call a Cadillac a trailer park queen, but this Dyna kit, I bought a kit PCB. I got some PCBs that is a Dyna kit, and that is supposed to be the trailer park queen, badass. Millions of homes have it. This is something that a lot of people know the sound of. I personally have never owned a Pass 3, but that is what these are. This is a Pass 3 from Dynakit. There's also a Marantz 7 and some Japanese, oh, there's RCA ones that are simpler. So I'm gonna basically have to build a few different preamplifiers to sort of learn and decide what I like. And I guess I'll build them all and then listen to them all, and I don't know. We'll figure out what to do with them when we're done with it. So anyways, the record player needs transformers after the needle. So I got some transformers. Then it goes to a preamplifier. I have my first preamplifier. I have been pulling parts for the other ones, and I have schematics for the other ones already as well, but I'm not going to go into that right now. And then CD player. CD player, currently I have a Sony PS1 video games. Boop, boop, boop. I have a Sony PS1, which is supposed to be a hi-fi classic. Everyone who knows about PS1s, I'm not going to tell the whole story right now, but basically when Sony got into the game segment of computers, they decided to put forth their, the knockout punch. So they put a really good disc system in it because they didn't want any failures, no time for drama, just high quality, and they wanted excellent sound, good repeatability, and tough, because kids are gonna mess with this. So I bought a PS1 system. I bought a really nice one, and so that I'm gonna be looking for other ones of these so that they kind of are sitting. There's a green pair. I'm looking for a pair of green ones. I had a single green one. I sold it. Anyways, I gotta get a pair of green ones. But in the short term, I also have these Western Electric ones. These are kind of, I think, too cool for this system. These are supposed to go into something else. But the thing that these are gonna go with is there's a CD player from Studer, 731. So those are supposed to mate to the 731. So out of a CD player, it likes to go into a transformer before it goes into a tube amplifier. And I have these Western Electric 111s, a pair of them for that Studer CD player. And I kind of am seeing this system as being more fun and like my learning. So like I'm a kid. So this is my kid system. So I kind of like my Sony PS1 for this system, for the CD player. And also the record player that I have for this system is a RecoCut by Rondine. That's another trailer park queen. And I have a cool one that I'm rebuilding. That's a whole nother video. I'll show you that one as it gets further. I'm a fan of modern architecture as well, and I'm trying to do a modern architecture spin, pun intended, on my record player. I don't really care for the way the RecoCut has been done thus far, so I'm kind of trying to make it fun. And I'm also trying to squeeze the best out of it as I can. I keep looking over there because that's where it's sitting, but it's not ready to show yet. I'm kind of proud of this thing that I'm doing, so I'm gonna keep it under wraps until I get closer. But yeah, I feel like that might be it. So it goes input transformer, it goes RecoCut or CD player. CD player is either gonna be a Studer or the PS1. I'm thinking it's just the PS1 to get started, and I'm gonna put these Western Electric ones aside because I don't currently own the Studer. I need to find a Studer. They're high dollar compared to the PS1. The PS1, I think I'm in it with the controller and everything around $200. So not that expensive. I will be rebuilding that PS1, and I'll probably make a video for that. Basically, it's old, so I'm going to rebuild all of the power supply capacitors. There's a bank, so I'm going to rebuild the power supply so that it is clean power going to the CD player reader. The rest of it looks mint, so mine was not played by rough children, so that's nice for me. But the power supply capacitors are old, so I'm going to upgrade those, and I'm going to probably upgrade the audio capacitors. Actually, as I believe, as I recall, those are chip cap, so I'm possibly not going to mess with chip cap. I was thinking of going oil and whatnot, oil capacitors, or some high quality polypropylene or something fun, but it's circuit cards. So power supply, they do have capacitors that I'll be wanting to change, just because they're old and they dry up. The audio capacitors in the chip cap form, they're pretty much 500-year-old. They'll go forever, or as long as I care. So CD player, record player, not gonna worry about tape right now, because all those tape things that I have, they also need to be rebuilt. They're mint old, and they could take me a long time to rebuild. So that's kind of where I'm like, fuck, there's only so many battles one man can handle during my life, and I'm thinking, do I really want to spend a year or two rebuilding a tape machine? What is the value in that for me? Tape is cool, and I've maintained tape systems for the military and for airport runways, and for the emergency systems, everything gets tape recorded. So I've played with tape machines in a professional sense, and I know what maintaining and continuing to operate tape machines is. And there are just so many things in life, like sports cars and girls, and the beach and skimboarding, and there's more here. And tape really should go to somebody like a studio in Nashville, or maybe in Los Angeles, or some Japanese hi-fi guy that is got more money and time for listening to tape than I have. Like I said, you got to pick your battles in life. And for me, I would rather go skimboarding at the beach, or take pictures of girls, or play guitar, or I don't know, other stuff. There's only so much you can do in this hobby, and I'm trying to talk myself into letting go of the tape machines. So that's kind of what this long tape thing is. So yeah, I think that's a good boil down of where I'm at with this. I'm CD record player into currently the first preamp is going to be the Pass 3 from Dynakit, and then I've got 6 amplifiers to build, 3 single-ended, and 3 push-pull. So 6 in total. 6 push-pull. No, getting fucking confused here. See, this is why I do it on tape. 3 push-pull, that's the left and right woofers, and then the bass woofer in the middle, which will be focused on lower frequencies, and then the mid-range horn, that's going to be single-ended as well. So the 2 tweeters on top and the top horn, those 3 will be single-ended, and then the woofers will all be push-pull. So 6 amplifiers in total. They're all Triad. I need to buy a couple more chokes. I have Triad chokes, but currently, I have more chokes. You kind of want to have them bigger. And I have, I think I have like maybe the level for the single-ended circuits, and for the preamp circuits, I have those chokes. But when it comes to the push-pull chokes, I think I'm going to be hitting eBay and buying more, because I want bigger chokes, because I don't want to be listening and going, oh, maybe the chokes aren't big enough. I want to like everything. That's a part of what I do here is when listening back, like, could you do this? Could you make this whole 6-way system with, you know, $5 parts? Yes, you could, but that's not what this hobby or passion of mine is about. It's about getting some of the best stuff and building a system with effort and care, and listening to it and saying, okay, I didn't make any shortcuts. Everything is high quality. And after it burns in, I can then say, okay, that is the JBL sound. And I have, you know, a couple different preamps to put. The closer you go to the source, like the CD source or the record player source, the closer, as it goes through the system to speakers, it makes more sonic. Everything's an amplification on previous steps. So like the needle is really important. The CD player is really important, which is why I'm kind of like, I know the Studer, you know, a Studer is like $2,500 today, and the Sony PS1 is like $200. So $200 to $2,000. I know the CD player and the digital to analog converters in the Studer are going to be better than a game station. So that's kind of where I was like, oh, put the better CD player. So I'm going to probably build that and then be able to do, you know, $200 to $2,000. How big of a deal is that? You know, that's something I don't currently know, and I haven't seen the video doing that. So I'm hoping this will sort of answer my own questions, and maybe somebody else will go, oh, that looks fun. I like that. Yeah. So after I get done with this system, I have Altec 604s. That's the other system. And really that was where I was at with this whole thing, is like, what do I want? Do I want the JBL or the Altec? And that was kind of where I was like, well, why don't you just build two super sick systems and then be able to AB them? So that's really what I'm doing. I already have my 604s, and I have a bunch of UTC transformers for that. And I'm gonna do basically the same thing, where I'm going to be listening to, the 604 has a tweeter in the middle of it. So it's a concentric, the woofer has a tweeter in the middle. So you're listening to a pair of sounds where normally the tweeter sits above the woofer. So your brain is getting, it's getting high frequency up high and then low frequency down low. So there's like, you have to stand back just right to get like a blend of the two. And when you have the Altec 604, you can sort of sit in between a pair of these duplex speakers that shoot right at you perfectly. So that's a different, like, does that matter? Like, I don't know. I don't own the JBL or the Altec systems side by side to be able to go, oh yeah, somebody wrote that that's an issue, having your tweeter higher than your woofer, or having them in the tweeter in the center of the woofer. Now, you know, people speak about it religiously, like, oh, it's this way or it's that way, like it matters or it does not. Like, I don't know. So I'm here to try and figure that out. That's sort of what I'm doing here. And I didn't want to have a compromise between the two and go, oh, Altec's right, or JBL's right, or does it even matter? And actually, I should be able to hear sooner than later. I don't have to build the 4 other amplifiers. I will be, but I can A/B, especially with video, between the JBL and the Altec by utilizing the same single-ended on the horn and push-pull on the woofer, and I should be able to listen to that sooner than later. So I think that's it. I think I've covered it. I'm sure there's more to say, but I'm going on 40 minutes now. And I noticed that some video people on YouTube, they do long videos, and some people do short videos. And I've done short videos, and I'm trying a longer one right now where I get like a bigger thought out, and figure out what it is I'm doing. I'll probably watch this back a couple times and take notes on what I've said, and maybe realize that I've said something right or wrong. Or if I've said anything that is incorrect or you don't agree with, or if you want to comment on, I'd love to see a comment. They're always fun. And like and subscribe. All right. Thank you, creators, for watching. My name's Jonathan, and this is really just some of my hi-fi efforts. I have companies, and I don't really know what company this falls under. This is kind of more for me, my passion, and listening to music. You could go watch my band, the Milliwatts. I'm in that with my 2 sons. Or there's also the Radio Test. That's an older band that my daughter was in also. So my daughter plays drums, and my 2 sons play guitar and bass, and I play guitar and sing. And then in the Milliwatts, we all take turns playing guitar, singing, playing drums. It's not really hard to do any of that stuff, especially at the level we're doing it, just for fun, avant-garde. Anyways, peace, creators. Thanks for sticking with me. And yeah.